welcome back to PlayStation Access. My name's Nathan. I'm here with Holly.
Hello, everybody.
Holly, we are, as this sign probably gives away, we have been at a pre-event for the live reveal of Battlefield 5, which is the next game in the Battlefield series. We've learned tons of stuff.
We have actually more than we could even possibly list.
11 things, which we are now listing. Exactly 11. And we're just going to run through them. Lots of things which are completely new, lots of things which are updates from last year. Mm-hmm. What are we going to begin with, number one?
Combined arms.
Combined arms, which isn't when people hold hands on the battlefield, although that would be lovely.
Maybe that's what it should be.
Combined arms is...
It's kind of the 4-player co-op.
Yes, so it's... it is a way... they were talking about it as a bridge between the kind of the... I mean, the whole point about Battlefield Online is that it's like this chaotic sandbox playground. Yes. But that can be daunting to people who are like, oh my god, I've learned how to pull a pin on a grenade, what is happening?
Yeah, so the idea is it's meant to be not quite single player, but not quite multiplayer. Yep. It's actually the perfect place for someone to maybe start. It's not like an easy mode, it's not like that. It's just because it's not as chaotic, yes. And you're with your friends, like purposely playing with your friends.
Up to 4 online.
Yeah, and it's not Top Gear rules, it's not about leaving anyone behind.
Right.
You actually do have to work together.
And I kind of, I understand what they were talking about in terms of where they're placing it in the hierarchy of like, we have one of the things which is later on our list, we have like more single player campaign kind of stuff. Yeah. We have the multiplayer, we have this in the middle. But this on its own for me was like just hit my zone of like playing with friends and like these like, so the idea is that these are little kind of mission stories that you'll go on. The idea will be that the objective can be really, really hard. It's very much about scarcity is one of the things we're going to be talking about later on. But it's about scavenging and stealth. These are kind of almost behind enemy lines sort of missions, and you might not do the objective. You might have to like extract before that happens. And I was like, over and above where this sits in, the experience of Battlefield 5, this is my thing. Like, I'm really excited about this.
Well, it's also got a mission generator as well, which means the objectives are dynamic. Yes. So potentially every time you go in, you would have a different objective anyway.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how deep that goes, but even if it's like... say Bungie have done with different conditions on the Nightfall, stuff like that. It keeps it fresh.
Just keeps it fresh.
Keeps something going on. So that's number one. They're not all going to be this long. Some of them are really short. Number two, war stories, which they teased, right?
Which we did have a short teaser of. Now, this isn't exactly something new.
Nope, they had exactly the same last year.
But it is coming back.
Yes, so Battlefield 1 had war stories. It's kind of an anthology way of doing kind of single-player campaign. We were teased. I think the one thing we could mention here is that they spoke a lot in the presentation about the pillars of what kind of stories they wanted to tell. We have not put on here, for instance, World War II, which maybe should have been at the top there, Holly. We're quite tired. And what War Stories is going to do, one of their pillars was going back to a conflict which people do know about, and they had pictures of all the games you might have played and all the movies you might have seen about this, and they're looking for stories you haven't played, stories you haven't been told, and places you haven't seen. So one of the things they actually teased was young female resistance fighter in Norway, and the tease was like her falling in the water.
Very abstract.
Some kind of story of self-sacrifice to save her family. That's all we know about it. But so war stories are returning, and this time they're trying to push it into areas that perhaps you haven't seen in this context before. Number 3.
Locations.
Well, Norway, right?
Yes, well done.
Thank you. Good.
City of Rotterdam.
Yes.
Which we've also seen, it was sort of very much after the bombing as well. So when Rotterdam was also utterly destroyed.
Yep.
We're also coming out into North African deserts as well. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we'll have things that you will recognise from World War II, things like the French countryside.
Yeah. Although, again, I think they're looking for,
the alternative side of what we've seen commonly.
Yeah, moving away from the kind of big blockbuster moments that you might know from the things you've seen and played so far. So I'm really interested to know what they do. So that even the way they describe the French countryside, this time they were talking about it teeming with kind of with a German kind of war machine, either moving forward to halt the invasion or retreating from it. And I just thought, that is interesting. Away from that initial kind of coastal kind of part of the war, which everyone knows from the D-Day landings. Locations, well done, Holly. Number 4.
Grand Operations.
Grand Operations seems really interesting, and it's building up from Operations, which is in Battlefield 1. This time, the idea is it's multi-stage, so
it's set over 4 not real days, so not actual in our time, but it's days. Over 4 days, which makes it 4 sort of stages. Mm-hmm. It's a mix of all the different modes.
it's kind of cross-map, cross-mode multiplayer where, so two sides might be, I think they use Rotterdam as an example. So
Yes.
you might be the assaulting force going in to try and rid the city of its artillery, and that will have an effect on the next stage. How well you do at that will determine how much resource you've got in terms of your full invasion force coming through in the next round. And then it comes down to, it can end on round 3, right? If there's a
if you're just absolutely tanking.
Decisive victory, with actual tanking. But 4 becomes like it's really decisive, and they've built it up to be really tense. So you spawn in, and you have like limited ammunition. You have no respawns. It's like a sudden death kind of thing. And they were talking about how that changes the way that people play as soon as they kind of get into that environment, and puts an emphasis on one of the things I'm not sure we've listed, but they have like this huge emphasis on squad play and trying to play the objectives of your class this year. And obviously one of the ways that you can do that when you don't have a respawn is it puts a huge emphasis on support class to give you ammunition and medic class to give you healing and revives. So that's really, really important too. So that is Grand Operations, which again, I am down for kind of more in-depth, just new ways of playing shooty gun. I like shooty gun. Number 5, almost touched on it there, but I didn't. Companies.
Yeah, so this is the idea of you creating the perfect squad. They're yours, you've trained them, they even look the way, even play the way that you want when you are in the game.
Yes.
It's completely customizable as well, and everything you sort of do can feed into companies as well.
Yes.
So even when you're doing the co-op stuff, all of that will still feed into your company as well.
Yeah, he described it, I thought tellingly at one point, as sort of a career. It's like your battlefield career is your company, and that includes vehicles that you might have earned and unlocked and customized, and different soldiers which you have unlocked, progressed and customized. And so the overarching kind of progression and unlocking trees feed into your company, which is like your stock of kind of characters and equipment, effectively.
Yeah, so the trees, for example, each one might have 2 sections. If you go on the left one, you then can't unlock the right. So you could potentially have 2 of the same tanks, but because you've given them different perks, they will play and feel totally different in your arsenal.
Yeah, and you don't have to unlock them fully twice. Once it's unlocked, you can go through and then you can just make different choices on the second one.
And then so much customization as well. Everything from the face paint, torso, jackets. It's really deep.
There's cosmetic stuff and stuff that changes the way you play. But basically, the overview is companies is kind of like this repository of your progress, and it's like going to be the thing this year. Moving very much to a one-off thing. Number 7 is throwing stuff.
Okay, so I put throwing stuff because they've done so much work on adding the little things that people have wanted in the gameplay, and now almost sound really throwaway when I say them now.
Literally throwaway.
But things that you can throw back grenades, and you do see it in the trailer. Mm-hmm. You can literally pick it up and hurl it back. Throwing med kits as well.
Yeah, I think they were talking about wanting to put a bit of physicality in the game, in as much as they want it so that, rather than go somewhere and there's like an effect coming off an object, you have to grab something and use it.
Yeah, there's no like just walking into the aura with head. You've got to physically stab someone with the
spells in World War II. That's the deal.
That's what we basically learned. But they have done a lot of work on the movements. A lot of work, like you'd be able to crawl backwards and shoot at the same time. Slide down to the left or right.
They were talking. It was just like a little tech demo of just a soldier throwing himself kind of into onto his shoulder on the ground and sliding around the corner. Can do it both ways. Can pedal kind of backwards, lying down on the ground. Can face forward or backwards on the ground without having to stand up. Just kind of like simple stuff. You're like, I have wanted that. That's good. I'm moving on though, Holly, to number 7, which is buddy rescue. Talking about squad emphasis.
Yeah, so now actually everybody in the squad can revive people, not just the medic. Yep. The difference is if anyone in the squad wants to do it and they're not playing medic, it's going to take longer.
Yes.
And you're not going to revive them with full health. Just a very small amount, and they haven't disclosed the actual amount. The only person that they're able to do with full health is, of course, the medic.
Yeah.
But this idea that everybody can now get involved, and you can even now drag someone. So if they're lying in the middle of like the corridor, and you're like, I'm just going to if I go and heal them, I'm just getting picked off as well.
Yeah.
You can now drag them to safety
Yes.
before you then administer the injection and bring them back into the game.
And again, the kind of underlying principle is the emphasis on squad play. The idea that they want to reward you for playing with your squad to the extent that you're able to kind of keep each other in the game, so you don't have to go, and then on the other side, on the kind of the offensive side, letting you know when you have wiped out a squad, because that's really pushing someone, the opposing team, back to the deployment, because they can't then spawn on each other or revive each other. So knowing that taking out a squad is going to be like a really big thing for your side as well. So I liked that too. And then kind of on a similar note, number 8, building a fortification.
Yeah.
Now, everyone can build. And I did, we're seeing how the Battle Royale genre is changing stuff, right? It's been really disruptive. It's been picked up in interesting ways. The idea that anyone can change the battlefield, like, it's hard not to say, interesting. Because, there's another game I've been playing that's been doing that too. The idea, everyone can fortify. Anyone can use sandbags, dig trenches, put gun emplacements up. Yeah, well, I thought you said something else then. Yes, and again, support class is going to be able to do it better because it's going to be a speciality.
Yes.
But anyone can do it, and it's going to change the way that people play. So you can put a mounted gun on a fortification. It's going to obviously make the recoil less, but there are going to be ways that you can also just completely shred those fortifications to pieces with a big heavy gun if you want to, because this is Battlefield.
Well, that kind of goes into the next point, which is the scarcity, which you kind of touched on before. So when you spawn in now, you're actually going to spawn in with less ammo than what you are used to.
Yep.
So it's all about trying to manage your resource. So obviously working together, you could actually build a supply point.
Yeah.
That'd be one of your fortifications, if that's what you want. And enemies will now drop ammo.
Okay.
So when you kill someone or you see someone, it's like, well, do I now dash out and try it? Do I go grab that, or am I risking them putting myself in danger?
Yeah. And again, the squad play, like that was, it always came back to, we want you to, it's not that they want you to run around going like, I don't have any bullets, this isn't fun anymore, but they want you to say, like, I have to be careful about how I'm choosing to fire my gun and where my teammates are in the midst of all this. Because I want ammo from them, or to give it to them. That leads us on to, oh my God, number 10. You can say this, Hollie. It's quite good.
Okay.
Well, they were very excited. No premium pass this year. No extra money for maps or expansions. So the deal is that all of the users, what they want is for everybody to the community not to be divided. This was something which I think studios, developers, always want. They've worked really hard on something. They want everyone to play it. And now that I think that they're evolving their approach so that the maps are not the thing which the community has to pay for this year. So that's good. I think that's a positive thing, and it kind of goes along with number 11, which is Tides of War, which is the
the overarching.
Yeah, this is it's a live service, right? So this is what shooters are now. Whichever shooter you play, it exists in a kind of an ongoing sandbox in some way. There is a meta, there are classes which are good and bad, and Tides of War is how Battlefield 5, we will get more of a sense of exactly what it is as we go through and as the game itself kind of takes shape. But throughout all the modes that we've been talking about, and all the kind of, there's daily missions that you can kind of pick up, there's assignments or daily reports, and in all the different rewards that the game gives you, it can shape your experience in tons of different ways. And I think a good way to think about this is, again, Fortnite's Battle Pass,
it is.
Where you can, where it kind of gives you a time limited, and you know how long it lasts, and it gives you extra content which just guides the way that you are playing the game anyway. And you're going to be playing the game anyway, but it will just kind of guide how you do it. And Tides of War seems to me a little bit like that. No details on exactly what it means, what content's going to be filtered through or anything like that so far. But the idea being that they will be able to tell a story. They're talking about gameplay evolutions, new content drops, and narrative kind of developments within the scope of the game. And they kind of mentioned 4 chapters, but a lot of what they showed was subject change, only to give an example. So I'm not sure that it's actually going to be over 4 chapters. But yeah, Tides of War is the way they're kind of thinking about progression with the company, and the way that they're thinking about all the different modes linking up is kind of the overall pathway through Battlefield 5.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
I think so.
Yeah, it was the hardest thing to get your head around
Actually,
without
no, it
actually
really was,
being
because
inside the game.
they were very, very good at trying to explain it without really giving us any details.
We haven't even, we haven't seen tons of gameplay or anything yet, so it's hard.
Yeah, we haven't really seen things in action, which means you haven't really got the context of how it will feel when you pick up the game and play it when it does launch.
And what does it mean day by day to have Titanfall? That is something which we're going to be kind of discovering later. But hey, Battlefield, I like it. There's another one, and we know exactly 11 things about it, which we've now told you. So we're going to go away and make this video. Let us know what you thought. Everyone's kind of seen the reveal. It's been live streamed now. So let us know what you thought about the bits of gameplay that we've seen and all the other bits of information which we probably haven't mentioned in this video. Let us know if there's anything that we missed you think is really important. Do like this video if you enjoyed it. Stay tuned to the channel. We have got loads more coming up.